Welcome to the New Hampshire State Archives. My name is Ashley Miller, New Hampshire State Archivist. Today, in honor of American Archives Month, we're going to give you a virtual tour of the New Hampshire State Archives. This desk belonged to Stephen A. Bulock, author of legislation that led to New Hampshire's first-in-the-nation presidential primary. He represented the town of Richmond as a Democrat, serving 5 terms in the New Hampshire House. In 1913, he was the sole sponsor of House Bill 430 to provide for the election of delegates to national conventions by direct vote of the people. At the time, convention delegates were selected by political parties at state conventions, with no direct participation of the people. The desk, which Representative Bulock used for many years in his home, often working by oil lamp, the stains of which are still visible on the desktop, was donated by his great-granddaughter Sybil in 2015, and has since been used by candidates when they file papers with the Secretary of State to enter the New Hampshire primary. Mr. Bulock operated a farming and poultry business and was a member of the Grange, Oddfellows, served 20 years as selectman, and held terms as town collector, health officer, and fire warden. He passed away November 11, 1941, at the age of 84. This desk belonged to Norris Cotton, U.S. Senator from 1954 to 1975. He was born in Warren, New Hampshire, May 11, 1900. As a minority leader of the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee of Health, Education, and Welfare, Cotton first arranged for funding for what became the Norris Cotton Cancer Center at Dartmouth-Hitchcock Medical Center in 1970, and arranged for continued annual funding until his retirement from the Senate in 1975. The desk is made of walnut veneer and was manufactured by the Standard Furniture Company of Hermicker, New York, known at one time as the desk capital of the world. Founded in 1886, the company became the largest producer of office desks and wooden furniture in the United States. After a period of decline, the company closed in 1978. The company's distinctive blue logo is attached inside the middle drawer. In 1978, renovation of the State House vault uncovered the long-lost New Hampshire copies of the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the 11th Amendment. Secretary of State William Gardner said that the nearly 200-year-old documents have been authenticated by both the New England Conservation Center in Andover and George Godspeed, a rare book dealer in Boston. Workers renovating a vault room at the State House found the parchment documents in a 12 to 15-foot metal tube that was stored near the ceiling. The documents had been included in New Hampshire records showing that the state had received them, but we didn't know how long they've been lost because we don't know when they were last seen. The Declaration of Independence was sent to the state in 1823 by then President John Quincy Adams. The copy of the Bill of Rights and the 11th Amendment are even older and were probably printed in 1789. In 1820, then Secretary of State John Quincy Adams commissioned engraver William Stone to create an engraving of the Declaration of Independence, since the original was appearing to be deteriorated. It took him 3 years, but Stone produced 200 copies from his engraving. Of those 200 copies, fewer than 36 are known to exist today. Researchers, when visiting the New Hampshire State Archives, put their belongings in a locker before heading into the research room. Upon entering the research room, visitors will take a look at our rules, register, sign in, and talk with staff about their research topic. Staff will then pull their archival materials for researchers, and they can delve in. These are our stacks. Currently, we have roughly 99,000 boxes of records owned by various state agencies that we are the custodians of, from the time they are transferred to us to their disposition if they aren't permanent records. Our vaults are kept in strict climate control, with a temperature of roughly 65 degrees Fahrenheit and 35% relative humidity. The light in our vaults is highly controlled, with light being turned off when no one's in the room. Our collections are protected by both artificial and UV lights. Archival records are stored in acid-free folders in acid-free boxes. Fragile documents are encapsulated in mylar, a protective archival film. Here at the New Hampshire State Archives, we have a digitization lab where we scan files large and small and make them accessible to the public. We have several artifacts related to Daniel Webster, including paintings, letters, and books. We house many of the state's founding documents, including the state constitution. Australian ballots are aptly named after the style of secret ballots created in 1856 by Australian states. In 1870, Great Britain adopted secret ballots, which became widely used in the United States in the 1880s. Prior to using Australian ballots, political parties in New Hampshire printed out their own ballots and handed them out to voters. As the parties' ballots deliberately differed in appearance, public observers at the polls could tell how a person voted, making it easier for political parties to pressure voters and offer them incentives, like hard cider or financial bribes. Beginning in 1891, the state government took over as chief operator of elections, officially adopting the Australian ballot to avoid improper influences on the election. In 1631, there were only a few small settlements in what is now New Hampshire. The settlers had an Asian in London who bought and sent them supplies. This is a list of supplies he was sending. New Hampshire was not immune to the witch trials. We have here in our provincial deeds cases of witchcraft being brought against people. Merilla Marx young Ricker was admitted in 1890 to the New Hampshire Bar, being its first woman member, and in 1891 to practice before the Supreme Court of the United States. She was a pioneer worker and speaker for women's suffrage, and for years made it her custom to pay her taxes at Dover under protest with the demand that she be allowed to vote. She was a Republican in politics, and her offer in 1910 to become the candidate of the party for governor attracted much attention. Archival records protect the rights, property, and identity of our citizens. They ensure a transparent government. Historical records tell our story and connect generations. They are an important link to our past and provide a wealth of knowledge for genealogists, researchers, government employees, and the public. Discover your roots, delve into your favorite period, and uncover information about an ancestor, your town, land, laws at the New Hampshire State Archives.